fans. Mark Holmes here, of course, with everybody, Cowboy Joe Booth, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Booth Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let's wake up the football gods here on this thirsty Thursday morning. And I hope you guys are ready for a great day. For me, any day that I wake up is going to be a great day, because when you get to be my age, every day is a blessing. And I've started doing keto, trying to lose some weight and trying to start doing walking, trying to make sure that I can live longer, because I want to live long enough to see the Cowboys win the Super Bowl again. And brother, I just don't know when that's going to be. So I need to be in the best shape of my life to make sure that I see that. In fact, me and my wife were discussing that because we're starting my PayPal group. And it's basically focused, and we literally made a joke of we need to get in better shape so we can live long enough to see our Cowboys win the Super Bowl. I hope that it's not that far away, but you know what? I'm getting tired of the hype videos. You know what I mean? We keep going, hype videos. Here it is. The Super Bowl was just this past weekend, and 3 days ago, the Cowboys come out with a hype video. Are you serious? A hype video. As we're staring down the salary cap with $21 million in the red, as we sit here and we look at players that may be going, that may be deemed valuable in free agency, from Randy Gregory's and Jaron Curses and, Blake Jarwin's. As we talk about getting rid of good players or, trading people for this guy and that guy, we're doing a hype video after our owner has literally made a circus of the coaching situation and literally cut him off at the knees and ripped off his balls. And we get a hype video. We get the sizzle, but not the substance. That's how it is as being a Dallas Cowboy fan, but we'll get back to that in a second. I actually want to touch on this. I don't know if there is a hidden agenda against the Cowboys, if Jerry Jones has become the de facto Al Davis that is hated by all the other owners. That may be the case. I don't know. That may be some of the calls that go against us, quite frankly, are bullshit and kind of smiled upon by the people who matter up in there that control things. Because I remember sitting there at the Super Bowl and watching that final drive that the Rams took the lead and seeing the whole offensive line jump off sides, and it wasn't called. I remember seeing bullshit ticky-tack calls down there in the end zone where it's third down as opposed to now being first and goal. And you kind of wonder, especially after hearing Brian Flores, that they were paying him or wanting to pay him to lose games. Is it conceivable? That's all I'm asking, but be that as it may. If the NFL really wanted to make money, if they really wanted a spectacle, if it was fake, there's no bigger way to literally print money than to be the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. After the drought that there is, after literally knowing that 10% of the whole NFL world is Dallas Cowboy fans, you would have a lot better situation and say parade than you did with the Rams. I think between the Rams and the press, there were more people there from that side than the crowd. And I have to say, this was a disgrace. Mathew Stafford, dude, where's your humanity? Here's this photographer right here. NFL photographer, that was taking his picture on the stage. She fell off the stage and fractured her spine. Dude just walked away. Take care of that. Are you looking? Boom. Take care of that. She literally fell off a stage that's about 8 feet tall. Now, I want you to take a look at this. You see how that stage is? She just fell off of it. Oh, well. I'm out of here. You see the crowd? Do you see the? Oh no, actually, you can't see. You can't see the crowd because there's not one there. Let's look at that one more time. Let's watch. Hey, yeah, I'm Mathew Stafford. I'm Super Bowl champ. Boom. Oh well. Wow. Wow. And look at the crowd, or lack thereof. I don't know. I don't know how you do that. I just don't know how you do that. That you just literally leave her. Oh, well. Take care of that. Peace. So, today's the 17th. The 16th of next month. The 16th. And maybe I need to reset the clock for the beginning of the league year. The 16th is free agency, the beginning of the league year. The 14th is legal tampering. We are under a month. Oh, by the way, this is a short month too. And we have to figure out between now and then, are we going to honor the contracts of Tyron Smith, Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zeke Elliott, the big contracts, even Anthony Brown's in there. Because once the 16th happens, the contracts are fully guaranteed. And so if the Cowboys don't want a situation like Jalen Smith, where they waited and ended up having to pay him his full salary, even though you got rid of him in the middle of the season, they must do that. They must also get down below that $21 million cap deficit. You know we're going to get about 16 off of Dak's contract. We're going to go through, redo that real easy. There's probably going to be some others that are redone too. The question is on this is, do the Dallas Cowboys go through the status quo and say, we're just going to bring our guys back, which is something that Stephen Jones believes in. We don't want to take chances on big free name free agents. We know our guys, and we like to keep them. The NFL's evolved. NFL is finding out. And you could even look at this going back a couple of years with the Eagles, because the Eagles, in a way, did similar things that Tampa Bay did, as well as the Rams. They went out and they got a lot of free agents. The problem, of course, was they aged out, they had a lot of bloated contracts, and they kind of had to start over. The Eagles seem to have rebounded a bit. They played better last year than anybody thought that they would. They made the playoffs. They still have a long ways to go. They still have some bloated contracts. They still need to get rid of people that are aging out, that are named players. Our biggest problem is the offensive line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The biggest question mark is Tyron Smith still going to be reliable enough to bring back? Unfortunately, left tackles are hard to come by. And the Cowboys are going to have to figure out what they're going to do. I don't know that you can let go of Tyron Smith because you have so many holes on the offensive line. Now, Kansas City last year after the Super Bowl, they ended up getting rid of 2 Pro Bowl players and replacing them with free agents. 2 guys that were injured. And you looked and said, oh, my God, who's going to be blocking for Pat Mahomes? Well, they still made it to the championship game, moving on. There are other ones out there. There is Laramie Tunsil, who wants to get out of Houston. Big salary. They have to trade for him. I don't know the Cowboys would do that because the Cowboys aren't one to make major trades very often. They got Amari Cooper, and now they seem to be having buyer's remorse. I'm not sure that they're ready to do that one just yet. But you could say we could try and draft a left tackle at 24 and have him be a stud for years going and go through the growing pains of his rookie year. Or we could give up that first pick and get a guy who is a higher salary that is a known commodity, which lifespan will be shorter. Knowing the Cowboys, they'd rather draft it. We're going to talk about the offensive line more. To me, in my mind, if Tyron Smith is healthy, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele. And I believe you have to get Terrence Steele in this lineup. We'll definitely go into the offensive line more, although we are still dealing with our situation of the Dallas Cowboys being an undisciplined team. Let's listen to this from Get Up this morning.
It's so interesting. And I mean, just for 1 minute, consider he was the coach of the Green Bay Packers, who don't have an owner. And now,
and now he's got, the most involved owner.
Never dealt with that before.
He has really gone 180 degrees to the opposite side. And Kmart, you've got a fascinating analogy.
Okay. You know, Greeny, resident psych major, everything goes back to relationships. So you know the couple that you're always hanging out with, you and your friends get together, but it's like that couple that always brings the mood down because it's clear that they are not going to make it. Everybody in the group knows that these two are headed for a divorce except them. They're just sort of languishing in that weird in-between space, and everybody is made to feel uncomfortable around them. That's what I feel like the Cowboys are. It's very uncomfortable to watch this because you are watching a head coach who can't even definitively say, I'm the dude for the foreseeable future, because he knows he doesn't have that kind of clout. He can't just say that. And you know that at some point he's on borrowed time.
Well, that's the way it feels, I think, to all of us. And so, Nico, again, you're aggravated by this, right?
I mean, if I'm McCarthy, eventually my head's going to explode and I'm going to get angry because this question is going to be asked to him.
Yes, all the time.
From now, the offseason, the regular season, any slip up. So he needs to come out and say, guess what? I'm the bleeping head coach here. I am the head coach. Until otherwise, well, he is right now. He is right now. Yeah. And he hasn't had to deal with an owner before, right? So now he's dealing with an owner who clearly in this relationship, maybe only one side is ready for the divorce and ready for the separation. Mike McCarthy's like, well, I'm the head coach now, I think.
Right.
I hope that I'm decent.
If one side is talking divorce, you're getting divorced.
So they're not, right now at this point, he's the head coach. So for them as a team to move forward and to have a good season, this question needs to go away, because you can't be a player in that locker room and be like, well, who's the coach now?
So what do the players do? I mean,
the players.
You're
trying to do your best because either you want a contract, you're trying to make as much money as you can in the short amount of time. So you want to be successful. You know, some guys that have their contracts, they're already set in stone. You know, some guys are paid. They're paid. Yeah. What's the worst? So then you have guys that are like, okay, I'm either older in the league and I have limited time. I'm young in the league and I'm on my rookie deal. I want to make a contract. And it's all about performing and being at your best. So if you have an issue where your owner is not really like, Dallas Cowboys, we do not know who our head coach will be, but I do. I won't say it yet. But.
Let me bring Mike T in this, because you've sort of occupied that space in between, the owner and the coach for many times. And I'm trying to think of what the opposite of empowered is. Whatever the opposite of empowered is, that's what Jerry Jones has done to Mike McCarthy. He's unempowered him or disempowered him or whatever that is. And so where does that leave the football team from where you sit?
Yeah, the word is destabilized, and all Jerry Jones had to do was come out and say unconditionally, Mike McCarthy is our head coach, and he hasn't done that. So the situation is destabilized, and players are going to gravitate to who think is in charge, and that's going to be Stephen Jerry Jones. And that's the worst situation, because context here is really important. This was a team that was #1 in the NFL in penalties. They are an undisciplined team, and the worst thing you can do is not empower the head coach. So I think what Jerry Jones is only doing is throwing gas on the fire. And Greeny, you make a really fundamental point, which is when you work with people in the NFL that have been in Green Bay, there's 31 situations, and then there is Green Bay. So I think for Mike McCarthy, he's actually going through a learning curve as a veteran coach. He's going from no ownership to extreme ownership, and that transition has obviously been really hard for him.
Yeah, I think it would be hard for anyone, in fairness to him, considering the circumstances. And I think, in fairness, there's been a lot of legitimate criticism of the job that he did there, and particularly the impact it had on the way their season ended. So, at the end of the day, can this work?
I don't see how
Can they make it work for the kids?
They stick together for little Bobby and Susie. They have to, but I don't see how this is a situation where Mike McCarthy can thrive. I know players are fond of him, but to Mike's point, players can read the room. Like, they're not stupid. They can tell, like, the owner's not really giving him the vote of confidence. Like, change may be afoot.
So what is it on the leaders to do now? What is it incumbent upon Dak Prescott? And I don't know exactly who else is the leadership of that team, but whoever the players are, to come together and say, look, I know this. Well, what do they say? If you're the leader on that team, what do you say?
Leadership is based on consistency. And sometimes the best leaders aren't vocal leaders. They're not guys that are standing in front of the locker room and, having a great speech, and everyone's like, what is he talking about? Like, you have to just be consistent. And the best leaders that I've been around, they consistently do the right things repeatedly, so over and over and over again, and everyone follows suit. So the Cowboys, they have a good roster. They have a good football team. They have to come together, and the leaders have to be consistent in this offseason. They have to set an example for the rest of the guys. Hey, we got some young guys. Michael Parsons, he's a leader.
Right.
Not might, he is a leader. So he's going to be a guy on defense that consistently can bring he could even bring veterans up with him to try and, come together as a team, because they have the talent. They have the pieces.
Yeah, they do.
They've created a situation that may be impossible to work if you're the person sitting where Mike McCarthy is sitting. We'll have to wait and see.
Wow. We are truly a circus. And, the Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones situation brings me shades of Al Davis. When I think about Kiffin and Tom Cable situations that Al Davis had with his coaches. I think with Cable, I think it was he fined him like $120,000. And then, of course, Davis called out Kiffin and called him a liar. I'm hoping that we don't get to that bad of a situation with Jerry Jones, but you've got to start thinking that Jerry Jones and Al Davis are, they're very similar. So with that being said, we got a lot of work to do in the workshop. Shout out to Alexander Negron. We're doing a butcher block for him. Shout out to the people that have ordered them. I've got lots of them to do out there. A bunch of them are going out today, including one to my buddy. Oh, man, I can't wait till he sees his. My buddy, Uncle Philip, and we'll see his reaction. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you.
Our folks here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
This one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?